From New York, it's That Kevin Show.
See, I knew it.
Come on, Kev. What's a few classified documents between friends?
I told you all the time. I knew it. I knew he had some too.
Here he is, That Kevin McCullough.
Welcome back to Times Square. Always glad to have you with us. Kevin McCullough, That Kevin Show, thatkevinshow.com, thatkevinshow@gmail.com, and That Kevin Show on all social media. So if you're ever confused, just That Kevin Show. Someone that we like to talk to oftentimes in the early part of the week, because we believe that first things first and America first is what we're all about here at That Kevin Show, is Marc Lotter of the America First Policy Institute, and he rejoins us. Marc, it's good to see you. Big week. We had the debate. We've got kind of the next layer of the race in front of us, which really is, I mean, we're going to go into like the summer doldrums here, and then it's going to hit Labor Day, and bam, the nuclear bomb is going to go off in terms of the interest in the election. But I'm guessing, and I'd love to know your assessment of where you think we stand in the Trump versus Biden race. And do you think it's still going to be Trump versus Biden? A lot of people speculating that the feller at the White House just can't even make it to the ice cream shop by himself, much less run the country anymore.
Well, first things first, I do think it will be Biden, and I'll give you a very easy reason why. Democrats are bleeding black voters. They are losing black voters in droves because things cost more under Joe Biden. Communities aren't safer under Joe Biden. And just like everyone else, black Americans can't afford it and they don't like it. So that's why they're bleeding black support. If you replace Joe Biden with anyone other than Kamala Harris, you will cost yourselves even more black support.
What about Michelle
among black
Obama?
Women. She's never expressed any interest. She hated her time in Washington, according to most reporting. And she said on multiple occasions she has no desire to go and be president. And so they're stuck because Kamala Harris is even more unpopular than Joe Biden, who is historically unpopular.
Yeah.
So I think they're between a rock and a hard place of their own choosing, and they have no choice but to move forward with Joe Biden. But to your earlier point, look, I think we're winning right now. Remember, never in the 2019 or 2020, even before COVID, was Donald Trump ever leading Joe Biden head-to-head in the Real Clear Politics average. He's been ahead of him every day since September. He's winning on the issues. He's not winning one or two swing states. He's winning them all.
Right.
And he only needs to win a couple of swing states. So, I mean, this thing is set up very strong, but we got to run through the tape. Got to make sure that we get out every vote you can. Need to go places where Republicans may not always be thought of.
Well, speaking of that, and let me
votes.
just jump onto that because it ties into your argument about the vice president. Last Saturday, Donald Trump goes to Temple University in the heart of Philadelphia, packs the place out. Hispanics and African Americans in large numbers of those in attendance. He has a line around the building like a normal Trump rally does. The protesters that show up have 40 individuals in orange shirts lined up on the opposite side of the street, and the media reports it like it's the biggest throng of people they've ever seen. Temple University, a Republican in an election cycle?
No, I think it's great. I mean, you add that to the Bronx, you add that to the New Jersey rally. Donald Trump is going out and earning the vote of people who may not be historically Republican voters. And that's because Joe Biden's failure has opened the door. The reason why these people are open to coming over and voting for Donald Trump is, A, they know that he's going to fight to lower prices, fight to make them more secure, and B, it's Joe Biden is the person who caused all those problems in the first place. And here's the thing that most people don't realize. I mean, they think, okay, great. North Philly, where Temple is probably 90-10 for Joe Biden. He doesn't have to make it 50-50. If he makes it 85-15, it's game over.
Yeah, just a portion of it is all that they will need, and at the end of the day, it's that's within reach. And I want to ask you about New York. New poll last week again calls New York within 1% Trump to Biden head to head. Now, this was already trending that way during the trial. I wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago for townhall.com that said if he names Lee Zeldin as his running mate and doesn't ask Lee to do anything other than just go campaign from one end of New York to the other, he came so close to being governor. I think that he could possibly win New York. I mean, is the Trump team actively trying to topple the map in a way that Democrats don't see coming?
Absolutely. In fact, I just read that the campaign is opening up new field offices in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They're opening up new offices in the state of Minnesota. And of course, we've already seen, as we've discussed, Trump campaign in the Bronx, Trump campaign in New Jersey, Trump campaign in Philadelphia. He's going where the votes are. And that's got to petrify Democrats, because it doesn't take that much of a shift to change the outcome of an election. And so if Donald Trump is tied in Virginia, leading or tied in Minnesota, within, a few percentage points in New York, it's game over for Joe Biden, because he's going to have to spend his time and money solidifying a state he should have put away a long time ago. And he just can't do it.
For people that are watching, New York and California are traditionally the starting bases for Democrats, and Texas and Florida are the starting bases for Republicans, and then it's fill in the rest. If early on election night you get something called for Trump, or even if it's just close and it takes New York way into the morning hours to determine a winner, does that depress turnout in California and further west?
It possibly does, but I have a feeling there's going to be such high interest in this campaign. I think it's, motivation's probably not going to be a huge issue. But what it could signal is close states, or states that shouldn't be close, are going to trend. Because look, if New York is flipping, then what's happening with Democrats in Michigan? What's happening with Democrats in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or even Minnesota? Go out further. We're going to see, obviously, Nevada flip. If New York is close or too close to call, does that mean that people in Colorado have the same choice? California, the People's Republic of California is a lost cause. They're gone.
Correct.
But, what about Oregon? They've had a couple of close races recently. Is this going to be a sign of another runaway? And I think it's going to be places like the Commonwealth of Virginia, New York, New Jersey, maybe New Hampshire, and then Minnesota. Those are the ones to keep an eye on to see what's developing.
Well, if you told me that COVID was taken away and that Trump would have gotten 11 million more in his second election than he got in his first, I would have said there was 0% chance that someone would beat him. Obviously, the COVID rules allowed for a lot of ballots to be counted. You mentioned Nevada. They had a 0% signature match in place, and their courts there said, nope, we have a signature match in place for a reason. You have to observe that. So this go around, they're going to have to compare. You can't draw a squiggle and say that that's a ballot. It's not going to count anymore. And I think that, Wisconsin, their Supreme Court statewide said every COVID protocol was unconstitutional. So we're going to see some reforms that kick in. In addition to that, the desperation of the voters is at a level I've never seen it in the modern era, in terms of disliking what they have and desiring something different. And Mark, this is the first time where you've had two presidents who had a full term each really show you what they could do, and the American people can see for themselves.
Yeah, it's been more than 100 years since we last had that. And of course, obviously, we didn't have the media, the social media that we do now. So the first time in modern history where people can compare records. And that's what this election is going to be about. You're going to hear President Trump talk about that throughout the rest of the summer. It's like, look, you tried it Joe Biden's way. Here's what you got.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.